By certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bob. Hold up.
If you were expecting Jake Bakoven, I'm going to have to apologize. Actually, no, I'm not going to apologize. You got me today. Nathan Brennan checking in. You're with the Hall of Famer, Eric Strickland.
Nate, doggy dog, man. It's good to have you on the show. We always catch you in the production studio. We only hear the voice, but now we get to see the face. So
that's right.
Good to have you on the block, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I don't know if you were listening to the water cooler.
Missed the water cooler, but not today. I didn't get to, but yeah, I had some stuff to attend to here at the palace, my little mini palace down here in Orlando.
Hey, there you go.
But I'll be home. I'll be home next week. So
oh really? We still haven't met, which is the craziest part because you were off-site. You weren't here at the studio, so
yeah, I'll be in studio. I think probably Friday.
Cool, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you didn't listen, I guess we'll just jump right into it, and I can
Let's get it.
So,
I know you've been talking about football. I know you're talking about football and basketball and a little Casey Rogers action and all of that good stuff.
And that was the big thing, and it became a little bit of a bigger discussion, and that's why I think you'll have a good perspective on it because you kind of know a little bit more about the glory days in Nebraska, kind of what went on with the program then. And a lot of the issues that I see now is you have a player like Casey Rogers, and I don't know if that's a generational type thing. I don't know if it's the transfer portal that caused this, but I think the biggest question that most people are wondering is the why. Right. Why is a player like Casey Rogers, when the transfer portal, by all indications, was created to give players opportunities that weren't playing? Playing time wasn't a situation, and if we've listened to plenty of Husker players say NIL's not the problem either. Right. So what is causing it? Is it the culture? Is it the coaching? From what you're seeing, what is causing a player like that to leave?
And see, I think that's still the thing that's up in the air. I mean, that's the thing that I'm sure a lot of writers, I'm sure a lot of us who are on radio shows and sports talk radio and all of that. I mean, I'm sure even USC is probably happy, but I'm sure that even them are wondering what it is that made you want to come here. You know, what is it about, USC, that made you want to come over and hang out with us here, Lincoln Riley and the crew. So the only thing that I can say that Casey, and this is all speculation, this is not any internal information or memos or anything that I spoke with any of the coaches to get this information. And I'm sure they wouldn't divulge it even if I did ask for it. So what my speculation would be that he's been here a while, and this is what makes it odd. What makes it really odd is that one, he was in line for the position to pretty much be in his hands and
absolutely,
to shine, show, and prove. He has a couple more years left. I mean, he was, he got a chance to see what happened last year, how close they were on the verge. And like me, this is a little different situation, but I can speak to it in some aspects. But like me, when I was with the Dallas Mavericks, I saw the doldrums and the bads and the worst of all that you can see as far as what losing looks like, right? You even though you had some of the greatest talent, I mean, there was a Hall of Famer in Jason Kidd, you had Jimmy Jackson, and you had Jamal Mashburn. There was just, they were the big three before the big three, right? And you know what I mean? The talent was there. And so they had a foundation to build off of. And yet there was a culture just of mediocrity and losing. It was more about the shine and the grind as opposed to, winning and putting up ships. And so I got to see that. I dealt with that, fought through that, shed tears over that. And then when you get to a point where you can see possibly a light at the end of the tunnel, you can start to see that it's looking like it's going to change. I knew we were on the verge of, approaching 50 wins. I knew we would win at least 40 to 50 wins if coming into that year. And you get traded. To me, the transfer portal is very much similar to that in college sports. It's very similar to trading or free agency, so to speak, right? That frustration and knowing that it's around the corner, I can envision that he saw it because they were so close. They were on the verge of breakthrough. A couple of just some mistakes and discipline and different issues and fumbles and turnovers and bad punts and all kinds of stuff that led to them losing games. And it just seemed like, it was a tremendous falter. But you can still see that there was something at the end of the tunnel. I don't know if it was the lack of depth. I don't know if it was the pressure of having to lead that charge with minimal people that were in the room, a lot of reps. Sometimes that can be a frustrating thing. And if you don't see something that may turn from it, and as you're watching the spring game, for me, the second half of the spring game told me a lot, meaning that it was like 7-Eleven open 24 hours. That's how gaping holes were coming up for me. So it looked like the depth there is very small. And so therefore, I don't know if he's looking at it from that standpoint and saying, maybe this isn't going to change. And here's why. The West is very run dominated. It's very, in the trenches type work.
Absolutely.
Both offensively and both defensively. It's in the trench type work. And if you can secure the trench, you give yourself a chance. If you can't rush the passer and you're giving up gaping holes, you're giving up 4 and 5, 6 yards on a carry, then that opens up play action. That opens up the middle. The linebackers have to come up. Safeties have to come down. You're putting tremendous pressure on a already thin, a new secondary that's trying to still figure out what they have after losing Cam Taylor-Britt and Des Muke and just the whole secondary, right? So now he may just be envisioning it's not here. And after going through a losing culture, you come to a point where you want to win. Now, the blessing for me was I was sent to a winning organization at the time, which was the New York Knicks, who had, just come off of going to the championship that year. I mean, they still had Allen Houston, Sprewell, Charlie Ward, Chris Childs, Marcus Camby. So they still had that team intact. So I didn't get sent to the doldrums until after that, where I went back to Vancouver, where I was just absolutely
Vancouver.
Gosh, it was a travesty at that time of our. Now they look very good now, but it was a travesty of an organization then. And so maybe he just kind of started reading between the lines, knowing that the weight was going to be on him, and it was really only 2 guys, maybe 3, and there was going to be a lot of pressure and work that maybe he just saw that there was a little light shining better, getting close to home maybe, or whatever the case may be, that he just wanted to make a change.
And the biggest issue that I have too is I'm glad you mentioned the Big Ten West. Is I was looking, I think it was yesterday, at the recruiting rankings when it comes to an Iowa, a Minnesota, and in so many other scenarios, like say you're in the SEC, you have to have 5-star talent or else you're not going to be. Because Alabama's going to throw 22 guys out there that are going to be 5 stars. You look
Texas
at
A&M now.
Texas A&M too. I mean, you can look across the board in the SEC. If you don't have 5 stars, you just can't.
Yeah,
you can't
compete. Right.
But because of the offensive line and defensive line strengths, you look at a team like Iowa since 2018 and 2019. So the guys that are playing right now that you faced last season, they had 3 4-stars. Everyone's a 3-star. And they're developing those players. And that's where my frustration comes with Nebraska, is so many guys on the team. And I don't know if Casey Rogers saw this as well, that you're not being developed. I mean, Adrian Martinez is a perfect example that we've talked about a ton. His freshman year, it looked like he was going to be the saving grace. Give this guy a couple of years and him and Frost are going to take us to the promised land. He got worse. He literally regressed each season. So I don't know if maybe that went in his decision, but that's part of my frustration is when you look at the Big Ten West, the blueprint is there. The Iowas and the Minnesotas win 9 games every season, and they're recruiting the same 3 stars that you are.
Yeah. That is a great point. I mean, and they're still trying to find an identity, right? I that's one thing I still don't think that Nebraska has quite done. Like, for example, the old, and you spoke about me being around campus. That was the one thing as a football player, myself, which even had me get a taste or to have a little smell, a sniff of wanting to play,
Right.
because it was embedded in what I was, which was, I want to dominate you. And that was what the old Nebraska, we're going to line up. We're going to go mano a mano, and we're going to run it down your throat. And there's
Punch you
nothing
in
you're
the
going
mouth.
to be able to do. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. Defensively, we are coming. You know we're coming. We can get pressure on you any way we want to, because that's how dominant we are. We can get it with 4. We can get it with our rush ins, with our Peter brothers on the inside, or we can throw some zone blitzing at you, and we have good cornerbacks that'll be able to shut things down if we need to. So don't worry, we're coming. And that was the identity. We're going to dominate you on both sides of the ball. Why? Because they only gave up. They gave up the least amount of points throughout all college football that year. They totally dominated on both sides of the ball. And that's what Nebraska just doesn't have an identity. I don't know what they do well. I just know that they have good tight ends that end up doing okay. And, you know, the receivers will catch some deep balls every now and then. The running game is
got 4 different running backs you're choosing from.
Mediocre. You know, you may have one that catches the ball out, you know, but you can't say he's Kamara. You know what I mean? He's Alvin Kamara type, where he can both run and he can both catch out of the backfield. You just don't know what that identity is. And that's where I think that they need to establish themselves. And maybe he just felt that the identity for him was not necessarily there for what he wants to do and where he wants to accomplish himself. Because since Ndamukong Suh, who have we really had that's dominated in the interior? Right. And maybe he wants to go where he can kind of balance that out and maybe fit into a rotation, a crew of guys, and still be able to shine without having all that pressure.
And that identity word is so important. And I want to hone in on this because Nick and I were talking about this. It's interesting for me because I'm 23 years old. The kids that you're recruiting and the kids that are playing on Nebraska's football team are my age. Mm-hmm. When you bring up these 1995 championships, that I don't care about that as much. Yeah. I want to hear from the Ndamukong Suh, the Levante David. And that's what I think is, trust me, I understand if you're an alumni, you played with the football program, you have a national championship, you need to be on the field in the program. Absolutely. That is so valuable. Mm-hmm. Like having those guys on the field talking to those kids is so valuable. But why for the spring game is Ndamukong Suh, Levante David, guys that are in the NFL, I just don't understand why they're not on the sideline talking to these kids, because those are who these kids know.
Want to know, yeah. And I think that crosses all barriers of sports at the University of Nebraska. I know that some have tried, but it really, hasn't been the case. I know that whenever I've been on campus, I've gone in, I've worked with Derek Walker some, I've got a chance to do a few things with them, but it's something you see in other organizations, right? You see guys that are willing to give back, come back, and you've seen guys like Rod Strickland. When Kentucky was making those serious runs, Rod Strickland was on, and guess who? A lot of guards were getting trained. Obviously you had Towns and you had Anthony Davis, and you had the likes of them, Boogie, right. and you had some of those guys, but at the same time you had a lot of guards, and
absolutely.
Rod Strickland was a big piece of that before he went over to the G League to head up that department with them over there. And so you can look across the board and you see guys that are there that are being a huge piece. You saw it at North Carolina with Hubert Davis. You're seeing guys like that to be able to first they start there. They're working internally. You're seeing how they're having an effect on the guys, and guys can see it. And there's a reference there, but we would hope we can do a little bit better on that and maybe start to see more of that, especially football and basketball, because there's guys out there that want it. I mean, I know there's guys that are there right now that are training the next generation. For example, Kenton Keith played in NFL, great running back. He's up there training guys right now. Guys like that, you may want to have around because they can touch guys in a unique way.
And I think it's so valuable, too, to have guys that have that experience and they're able to connect to these younger kids. And let me ask you this then. Do you think when it comes to the alumni network of athletes at Nebraska, do you think being local and from Nebraska has that type of tie-in too? Because I know a lot of the guys that are coming back to campus and talking to these athletes, you included, you're from Nebraska. You have that tie-in. Is someone that's from California, Florida, something like that, are they not going to be as invested in the program? I don't know if maybe that has some type of role to play.
I mean, I don't want to say that that's the case. I think that I think if you bleed it and you love it and you've had a great experience, then I don't think that matters.
Right.
But Nebraska is in need of a breakthrough, and the pressure is mounting for all programs, especially on the men's side. I'm talking about all men's programs. There's some mounting pressures that are starting to come. The women are doing a wonderful job. They're crushing it. Kudos to the women. Shout out to all the women in the programs. Y'all are doing your thing. Keep up the good work. And so we need to start, changing the narrative there. And we haven't done a good job of it. And hopefully we can, but it's now. It's got to happen. It's something that you can't continue to kick the can down the road on this one. You got to start showing improving in this next year. Definitely.
What do you think? Because when it comes to Scott Frost, do you think there's some type of issue with hitting the transfer portal so hard and kind of doing these quick fixes? Because I think that's kind of the issue that he's running into is you've had 5 years of this experiment. It hasn't shown up on the field. This is your make it or break it year. And you have guys that are within the program like a Casey Rogers that's dipping. What does that say for someone like Scott Frost when you brought him in here, you showed him the vision, the vision's not there, and now you're relying on a transfer quarterback to lead your season, a 5-star and Trey Palmer receiver who is supposed to be your best receiver, and Tommy Hill on the defensive side of the ball that's supposed to replace your soon-to-be second, third-round draft pick and Cam Taylor-Britt. So I don't know if that's just the nature of college football, or is it more an indication of just kind of the situation? Like you said, you have to perform now.
I mean, I think that is a good point, Nate. I mean, but at the end of the day, right, it is the new thing that is happening in sports. I venture to say that is probably one of the things, even though this was in the works for Jay Wright over at Villanova. I mean, he was kind of, talking about it. But I can venture to say that this NIL situation, these transfer portal situations, is one thing that is probably just kind of created some heavy weight on him to say, I'm trying. It's time to move on. You're starting to see it at those top level entrenched guys who have been there and have had much success. They're all starting to kind of peace out as this stuff is starting to come down the pipe. And so maybe the thing with the vision being shown, being shared, it is something that everybody's having to deal with. It's really going to come down to who deals with it the best, right? Here's the thing though, when you've got those programs, those high perennial programs like Alabama, obviously, Georgia, right? One of the things that they do is they create foundations. But here's the other thing that they have: identity. When you talk Georgia, identity is defense. We're gonna stout you. We're gonna stop you, and we're gonna just ball control you and take care of the ball and make sure our quarterback don't make mistakes. And then when you talk about Alabama, you actually talk about offense. I mean, they have a solid defense, but you really talk about we're running the football. We're running and we're going over the top. We've got big, stout, hard-nosed running backs, and we're 3 deep in them. So we're coming at you downhill. And then, we use what we have with our guys on the perimeter, at which they've had great receivers too. And so those are the things that with their identity. Here's the problem. That's what Nebraska doesn't have. We're, like you're saying, we're hoping Trey Palmer becomes like that. We're hoping Casey Thompson becomes that. We're hoping that, Tommy Hill becomes that. But they don't have a story to tell. They've got to create the story. And when you don't have it in the trenches right now, especially in the Big Ten West, there's trouble looming. And I'm being quite honest about that to our listeners. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up your tail. I'm being honest about the fact that there's trouble looming if they
Time
don't
football.
secure their troop, if they don't secure them trenches with anything that I'm not talking. You need foundation. There's no foundation, and that's what the transfer portal kind of can create is instability. But you need those foundational pieces. And right now, I just hadn't seen it as a foundation, and we're hoping they can secure it with what they brought in.
That identity, do you think it's attainable with Scott Frost? I mean, because you'd think by now, when we talk about identity, especially someone that's been in the program, won a national championship, that you would have that identity already created. Are we at a point that it's just not going to happen, or where are we at with that?
Well, Nate, I think it's this. I think initially a lot of the people that he had surrounding him were not independently inclined, and they were I don't know, but it could have been they were friends, they had great relationships. He kind of controlled pretty much the majority aspect of what was going on. Right. And as a head coach, you've got to be able to have good delegations. I think he got that with the coaching staff he has now. So I think the identity will start to kind of, you with what they brought, you can see that they're trying to establish it with the running back game and all the, the running backs they were able to secure in signing, as well as Whipple and the type of quarterback he's looking for. So those are the things you can kind of see. The problem is that they don't have the time. When you build a foundation, right, in construction, when you build a foundation, it takes time to lay the groundwork, lay the rebar. You got to lay the foundation, the brick, all the masonry before you even start to see any piece of the house. You know what I'm saying? And that takes time, right? It takes materials, and sometimes materials take time to get to his location. And that's the thing that they don't have. And so they're really banking on a hope that some of those guys can become foundational pieces to build off of.
Which is it's just a dangerous spot to be in right now. And like you said,
really is.
We're at the point is it's you got to show it. Like you've had your time. This fan base is hungry. It's time to show it. But we have to head to break. But if you want to introduce kind of who's going to be our next guest, let listeners know. Go ahead.
Yeah, as we're tapping out, we're going to go to a break right now. We have a guest. He is a good friend of mine. He was a freshman when I was playing at the University of Nebraska. He came in. He taught me a few things. He's a lefty like E Strick. Larry Florence will be joining us on the block. As soon as we come back after a break, we'll talk with him as soon as we get back right after this.
What does better service mean? At Allo, it means that you get the best fiber internet available at prices that work for you. Better service means installers who show up on time. Better service means no billing shenanigans. Better service means a real person answers the phone. If you're not paying for better service, what are you paying for? Get Allo. Get better service. Switch today at allofiber.com/better service.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but I'll save you time. High Electric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical, from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. High Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at highelectric.com. Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rob Rhodes, a Nebraska family practice physician. Are you or someone you love at risk of an opioid overdose? Get the free Opie Rescue app for your phone. Opie Rescue can guide you through the steps of how to respond to an opioid overdose. Be Opie ready. Download Opie Rescue today.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Every time the back door closes, it squeaks and reminds me of how I used to go out back for a cigarette 2-3 times a day when I was stressed, when I was hungry, when I was bored. But then I think of how the stale taste lingered in my mouth, and I reach into my purse and pop a stick of gum. And the craving is gone.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you sick of mindlessly running on a treadmill or the lack of motivation to consistently work out? Whatever your challenge, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping can help. Whether you want to lose weight, boost energy, or simply improve your overall health, you'll fit right in at Farrell's regardless of age or abilities. Build endurance with their kickboxing and strength training group fitness classes while also getting nutrition coaching. Try Farrell's now for a free week. Visit fxblincoln.com or call Jeff at 402-310-4026. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
Mike Schaefer here for Trek CBD. Springtime is here, and that means you're outside more in nice weather and maybe even having garage parties with neighbors. The drink of this spring and summer isn't your typical seltzer. It's drinkable Delta 8. Yep, Trek CBD has drinkable Delta 8 seltzers with mango and lime flavors for 4-packs and 12-packs, coming in a variety of mango, watermelon, lime, and berry. They also have hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups to put in your beverages, and as always, the excellent Delta 8 gums. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
Tune in every Monday morning throughout the summer at 6:45 a.m. for golf course reviews on the Nebraska Golf Passport Early Break Golf Tour with Jake Sorensen and Steve Sipple on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to On the Block 93.7 The Ticket. If you listen to the show regularly, you might not recognize the voice because this is Nathan Brennan. Jake Bakoven doing a little bit of sabbatical. He's over in Cali. But luckily for you, we still have the longtime NBA vet, Nebraska Hall of Famer Eric Strickland.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Larry wasn't able to join us. He may try to call in. Yeah. I was going to talk about a little bit what he was actually facing, what he's been dealing with. He's kind of been dealing with multiple myeloma cancer, and so we're loving on him and continuing. Yeah, he's actually fighting the good fight right now. He's holding on. My ex-wife, Carolyn Sanders, she had a sister that was actually dealing with something of the same nature. It's a nasty little thing. It hurts. It aches your body. I think one time Larry had put on his Instagram page of just how much pills he has to take just to hold on, because what it does is it deals with the bones. It's like it literally just kind of eats away internally at your bones, and it's really tough. He has good days, he has bad days, but one of the things that he's doing is he's still working with kids and giving his time, giving back to the game that he loves so much. So hopefully we'll be able to get him on the show maybe next week or something as he's doing a little bit better. But so we weren't able to get him. I was hoping he'd be able to join us, but that's okay. But there's still a lot of things going on out there in sports right now, a lot of things to talk about. So, let's open it up. Let's talk about it. Also, we would love for you to call us on the Honda Lincoln hotline. We would definitely love to know your perspective. What are your thoughts on the Casey Rogers situation? How do you feel about it? Do you think there's something internally going on? Do you think there's, how do you view someone? Because I know me, if I wasn't on the verge of breaking through and about to have all the playing time available to me that I'd been waiting for and been working for, that it would be hard for me to bounce on that, especially going out there, to a USC team. You still don't know. You don't know anything about, you missed their spring game, obviously, because Bach is on his way out there for that. You missed the spring game. You're going to go in the fall. You're behind the curve. There's so many things that change when you're transferring, especially at that time, or even if you're coming in as a freshman. I mean, there are terminology differences. You're not probably familiar with the coverages, the playbooks, the slant. Just all that stuff could change for you, and you've got to get up to speed. You got to get caught up. So it's very possible that he's. I'm sure he's a smart guy and he'll be able to do well. But you're coming in probably behind some guys that have been doing like you, been waiting and in the wings and been preparing and getting themselves in order and in place. Can you overwhelm them or overtake them? That's yet to be seen. So we'll find out more about that. You can text us on the Sutter Heyman text line at 402-464-5685. We'd love to hear from you. What's your thoughts on it? The case.
And let me ask you this too, Stricky. Yeah, I want people to go ahead and text us in too, because this question, I know you have your issues with the transfer portal. And I think it might go hand in hand with NIL, or maybe it doesn't. Have we reached the point, and I brought this up, that maybe it's not even amateur athletics anymore? The way that the transfer portal, and look, I think the transfer portal is a good thing. I think there are a lot of situations where a guy might not be getting the opportunities. He might not be getting the playing time. He wants to jump ship and obviously get those opportunities elsewhere. But you look at a situation like Casey Rogers. Everything was in front of you. You were going to get the NIL deals. You were going to be playing. You were going to be the leader on that defensive line after everything that's happened this past offseason. And I'm just worried that we've reached the point where the transfer portal, it's not even amateur athletics. In these kids, it's just becoming so easy to jump. And I don't know if there's really a solution.
So I've always said that there's a positive and there's a negative in what the transfer portal brings. I think it gives power back to the player in a lot of ways. But it also can create some, whereas in the past you had to fight for it. And so it can create a lot of just go where you think the grass is greener. And we've seen some of the negatives that go with that, because people think they're going where the grass is greener and find out that there's some dead grass over there. So maybe the problem that I left was not necessarily a problem, right? And so you have those situations too. But then you've had some, like, for example, it worked out well for like a Rondell Robinson. It really did. It worked out well for him. He went over there. He got to a bowl game, which he got to play the style that he was happy with, the usage that he was happy with. And they had some success. And so you have good stories and you have bad stories. And I think what it's also doing is it's making it for the coaches to have to broaden the way, the style, the way that they coach, the way that they handle their locker room, the way that they train up the players, right? Because you want to be able to show them that there's the next level for them is attainable by the way that we establish ourselves in our culture here is to get you to the next level. I think some of the successes that they'll probably have in the draft will help. Those are the things you can also tap in on.
I agree.
Is some of those successes that are now coming out of the draft. And but what would even go even further is having success next year and putting themselves in a position to win a bowl game. And those things will go a long way in the next steps of establishing themselves back as a top tier university.
Was there ever a point in time that you or maybe some of your teammates thought about transferring? Because I don't even know when the year was, but I feel like it was basically with the snap of the fingers out of nowhere. It was everybody's transferring. And I feel like even in the early 2000s, that wasn't really the case. So was it really even discussed when you were playing?
Well, obviously, we came in with a group of us. It was me, Andre Woolridge, Terrence Badgett. He was still there. He was a redshirt freshman, and then Jerron Boone. We had all known each other. We'd all played with and against each other in the summers, and we were really looking forward to playing together. I think one of the things was, there was tremendous frustration. Obviously, we had a senior point guard in Jamar Johnson that was pretty solid. Then they wanted to play Jerron Boone at the point some too, so it created a kind of a logjam there because obviously we had Pike, and then there's me, and then other people. So it was kind of, the rotation got to a point to where it was some frustration, and Andre became frustrated. The difference between Andre that I think really hurt him is early stages was he played at Benson, and at Benson they played a matchup zone, so he didn't really get to learn the principles that like I did. Bellevue West, we played hard nose, get out. The style that we played at Bellevue West was what Danny Nee was playing at Nebraska, which is, deny the wings, pressure on the ball,
right.
All those types of things is what we did at West. So the transition for me was a lot easier. Whereas for Andy, man-to-man principles just wasn't his forte. So, there was a little curve that he had to try to get over. I mean, offensively, he's very skilled. And then trying to run a system and do all of those things, when he's used to leading the team, and he was very much, point guard dominated, where at Nebraska, that wasn't the case. I mean, it was anybody get it, go, so those are some things where his strengths weren't able to be used effectively. Right. And there becomes frustration. So he decided to transfer. He went over to Iowa, where it was a team that was very hard in their recruiting process for him. And but here's the thing, it fit his strength. Iowa played zone. That was so he went to the place of where his strength was, and he excelled, becoming Big Ten player of the year, leading the conference in assists, and having great success at an Iowa program because it fit his mode. So it was good for him that he transferred. Now, I don't think I was ever in the mood of transferring, but I was very close to quitting. my senior year was probably as close as I came to quitting.
Really?
But it was a lot of frustration because we were so much better. There was internal fighting with coaches and stuff, and so me being the bridge gap between players and coaches, as a captain, it was very tough on me, because with that frustration, it creates a lackluster kind of mediocrity, and I don't feel like it. I don't want to play, and not playing hard, and that's not me. I'm practice, game, lather up, pregame. I'm going hard all the time, and so it was a frustrating thing. And when we kept losing to the second team, it was I was done. And I was like, look, man, you guys, if you guys want to go at this, y'all have it. I'm out. And thank God for Jeff Smith, who was the coach. Had it not been for him grabbing me, really having a conversation with me, talking me through it, that I stayed around. But yeah, it does happen. It does happen.
We got a couple texts here. Big Frank, for one, says, Strick, since you're going to be in town, could I come by and get a picture from your Mavs day signed?
Sure.
Yeah, I know. Strick's for the people. You play for the people with the chicken, and then I know you're always here for the fans too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm assuming he'll do that for you. A couple things kind of with the football program. Gene asked, does it have to be something programmatic, or I guess within the program, or could it just be a guy going out into the portal to look for bigger and better deal? And then also we have a text. Do you think that he wasn't going to play because somebody is better? Here's what I'd say. If it was last year and you're Casey Rogers and you transfer, as deep as the defensive line was, sure, I guess I understand that. Look, if you're transferring to get a better opportunity, you think you're an NFL talent, you talk about it too, Strick. I'll always say, go get the money. Like, if you are talented, go get your money. But this year, I don't think that was the case. You were set up to start, and with NIL now, you're getting the money that way. And I don't know. And Gene makes a good point. Is it something within the program, or could he be looking for a bigger deal? as a defensive lineman,
USC got some good UIL money too.
They do, but like
they are, but you're not that guy, so it's
No.
different. Like you're saying, being that guy is different than going and being amongst guys, especially linemen, offensive linemen. They're probably not going to get as
Absolutely.
high as UIL deals as maybe the quarterback or maybe
Right.
the running back or something like that. But at the end of the day, Trey Palmer, for example as well.
Yeah,
So-
I'm just not buying the whole NIL thing, and again, it very well could be, but I just don't buy the guy that's going to be kind of the face of the defensive line that's been within the program for 4 years. Like you stuck through it for 4 years to then jump when you were finally going to be the guy to take over. I just don't buy that. There has to be something maybe within the program. And Gary says, what was his degree? And maybe he wants a master's from somewhere else. I guess that's a valid point. I mean, he could, but Nebraska's a pretty big school. I don't know if there's many programs that aren't offered at Nebraska. Again, I could be wrong, but it just, the whole thing.
Maybe he wanted marine biology.
Maybe he was doing something like that. I don't know, but it's just so confusing to me. And I don't know if we'll ever know the answer to it. And I don't know if we'll know, especially Scott Frost tenure, because we had a texter text in earlier, Strick. I don't know if you knew this. There have been 68 players that have transferred out of Nebraska since Scott Frost took over. 68 like that. Like, I don't care what program you are, what coach you are. At some point, that's a reflection on you. It has to be.
That's like when you're dating. That's like when you're serial dating, or you're married and you've been, at some point you gotta, even myself, we gotta look at it and say, dang, what could I have done better, or what didn't I do, or why? We do sometimes have to look internally, but that is a crazy track record when you think about it, right? 50 people. Like, what is it that makes you? Well, I mean, what are you selling to them that you're not performing on? What are you telling them that you're not actually executing on? So there could be some things in that as well. I think it's a difficult thing, especially with this new day and age of taking coaches and being able to hold them accountable, unless you're starting to hear stuff on the outside. And I haven't yet to hear anything or know anything, but you do have to look at it differently and say, what's going on internally. Now with the new coaching staff, we'll see if it's changed. It sounds to me that they're doing a great job. Some of the stuff that I'm hearing, it seems that they're doing a good job of raising up leaders. And I think that's what they didn't have before. And I know we've got to take a break because E Strick's got to play for the people, but I'll let you finish off your thought, and then we got to go to a break. We got to pay some bills.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to ask you, because this is something that I've always thought about, and you were an athlete at Nebraska, it firsthand. Do you think there's a type of pressure that comes with these guys transferring? Like, you go into Nebraska, you love playing for Nebraska, the fans will embrace you, but with that comes a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure to perform here. And for a 19, 20-year-old kid, sometimes that can be quite a bit. So do you think that has any role to play in it?
Well, I can't say that that's the case at this point. And here's the reason why: they haven't won. Winning brings way more pressure than losing.
Absolutely.
Losing brings pressure because when you look up and you're 3-7 or you're 0-14 in the conference, and yet you still have fans filling up the freaking arenas and the stadium. That's so I would say from that standpoint, there's pressure because these people still love you in spite of just the product that you're putting out. You've got to try to change that. And I think that's what's going to happen this next year.
And they want you to succeed too. I mean, that's the thing is they're supporting for a reason. Like they want to see you succeed. So I've always thought that's interesting that maybe a guy comes here, doesn't know kind of the expectations, the fan base, what they want from their players. So it's definitely interesting, but we do have to go to break. Said shootout with Strick, 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln hotline. Give us a call. Nick's working on it right now, so I don't know what our topics are, but that's okay. It's either or. So you will have a chance to win. Again, $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Honda Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. Give us a call. You're listening to On the Block, 93.7 The Ticket.
Before the playoffs start, the Stars have some last-minute business to take care of. It's Fandemonium on Saturday, April 23rd as Lincoln battles the Tri-City Storm. We'll be giving away merchandise all night long as we celebrate the final game of the 2021-22 regular season. Get your tickets to Fandemonium today at LincolnStars.com. That's LincolnStars.com.
You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but I'll save you time. High Electric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical, from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. High Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at highelectric.com.
Now's the time to schedule your air conditioner service check with Bryant. Make sure it's ready to keep you cool and comfortable when you really need it. Call Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Are you sick of mindlessly running on a treadmill or the lack of motivation to consistently work out? Whatever your challenge, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping can help. Whether you want to lose weight, boost energy, or simply improve your overall health, you'll fit right in at Farrell's regardless of age or abilities. Build endurance with their kickboxing and strength training group fitness classes while also getting nutrition coaching. Try Farrell's now for a free week. Visit fxblincoln.com or call Jeff at 402-310-4026. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
Every time the back door closes, it squeaks and reminds me of how I used to go out back for a cigarette 2-3 times a day when I was stressed, when I was hungry, when I was bored. But then I think of how the stale taste lingered in my mouth, and I reach into my purse and pop a stick of gum. And the craving is gone.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
Every single time I hear this, I get pumped up because it is time to play the game. Shootout with Strick. Go ahead and give us a call, 402-464-5685. See if you can take on Eric Strickland. Unfortunately, for whoever our contestant is today, we're talking NBA playoffs. So I'm assuming that's right up Strick's wheelhouse. What do you think, Strick?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's safe to assume that he would be pretty good this category. But we actually do have a caller. It is Andy on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Andy, how you feeling about the NBA playoffs?
Oh, boy. He might have a little advantage on me.
Well, luckily for you, it's an either-or question, so you have an opportunity to win. But we want to make sure that we get Strick's answers first so you know how many points you have to get. So, Strick, we will start off with you. Are you ready?
All right. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. In 3, 2, and 1. Who led the Grizzlies in points last night, Ja Morant or Desmond Bane?
Desmond Bane.
That is correct. Who is the coach of the Timberwolves, Ryan Saunders or Chris Finch?
Finch.
That is correct. Did Luka Doncic play last night, yes or no?
No.
That is correct. Who led the Nuggets in points off the bench, DeMarcus Cousins or Austin Rivers?
Austin Rivers.
It was actually DeMarcus Cousins. And your money ball, where did Anthony Edwards go to college?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Virginia.
The answer is Georgia. Played for Tom Crean at Georgia. Tom Crean, I'm pretty sure, was actually recently just fired. So I guess when you don't have Anthony Edwards, you're not as good of a coach. So, Strick, you finished with 3 points. Still a good score. Andy, does that make you feel any better or any worse about beating Strick?
I don't know, a little better. I mean, this is ultimately like flipping a coin 4 times for me. So we'll see.
That's
Hey,
it. There you go.
And then remember, the money ball's 2 points too. So Strick left that one out on the table. So you have that going for us. But Andy, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, we will start in 3, 2, and 1. Who scored 26 last night for the Golden State Warriors, Klay Thompson or Steph Curry?
Thompson.
That is correct. Who grabbed the most rebounds for the Warriors last night, Kevon Looney or Andrew Wiggins?
Wiggins.
That is correct. True or false? The Grizzlies were at one point down by more than 25 points last night. True or false?
False.
It was actually true. Who's the coach of the Dallas Mavericks, Rick Carlisle or Jason Kidd?
Carlisle.
It's actually Jason Kidd. And then your money ball. What college did Trey Burke go to?
Say Georgia Tech.
Michigan, right?
Michigan. Yes, it is Michigan. Andy, you fought hard, though. I will
You
say.
fought hard, man. You put. Hey,
You
listen.
did. You did.
But you know what, Andy? The champ is here, dude. The champ.
Listen, that was a trick question, though. The Rick Carlisle one, because he's actually
that was 'cause he
Pacers
was the
right
coach.
now. He
He was
recently
the
just
coach.
left the Mavericks, so it's Jason Kidd now. But Andy, go ahead and hang up. In the third caller, you will get the chicken 402-464-5685. We're giving away $15 Buffalo Wings and Rings because Strick plays for the people.
That's
Strick,
for
I will
the
go ahead and give you these.
Hell yeah.
And I don't even know if you guys play this one, but I always like the boom shakalaka. I've been trying to find the champions here, but Bach doesn't have it here on the sleeve.
But mine is Mortal Kombat, baby. Mine is Mortal Kombat. Finish
I know,
him.
I will say, it's pretty good. You have 4 now? 4?
4 straight, man. Bach's gonna have to play that when he gets back.
Oh, wait,
I
here
need
it
to
is.
hear that on Monday before we start.
Oh, there we go. There you go. Yeah, we threw those in. Strick, I'll go ahead and give you the money ball, too. This was pretty creative. Nick
Talk
asked
to
me.
me. What is it?
How many fans were at the Warriors Nuggets game last night?
17,568.
That is way better of a guess than I would have had. It was 19,627. Was that was in Denver, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I'm
That's a
assuming
big
that was
stadium.
Does
That's a big stadium.
can they fit
Yeah, it was
more?
in. Because Golden State was. They were at Golden State first.
That's right. And
first two
they don't play at Oracle anymore. What do they call it? I don't even know what it is.
Oh shoot!
I
Man, the
can't
names have changed so much. It's
That's not even the Staples Center anymore. It's the Crypto.com arena. or
Crypto.com,
something.
so-
What is
Shaq
that?
said, "I don't even want to go in there no more." It ain't Staples Center.
It's dude, I'm good going without it. But 19,000 is an NBA game. That's actually quite a
That's
bit.
huge. Yeah, that's
I didn't
a
even know
lot.
if they packed that many into an NBA stadium. But hey, credit to the Nuggets, even though they couldn't get the job done. But
We're gonna talk about that next.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Not the first segment, but definitely. The second.
we will talk about that. So make sure you stick around. Lots of NBA talk to go around. I was listening to First Take this morning. Stephen A was heated. So we can get into that a little bit. But when is Stephen A. Smith not heated, right? But you're listening to On the Block, not with Bach and Strick and Bach. It's actually Nathan today, and it'll be the next few days. But On the Block, make sure you don't touch that dial. We got another hour coming up right after this.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Storage Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 Highway 6 in Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction on June 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. 93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast today, spotty showers this morning, but partly sunny later and windy. See a high of around 89. Tonight, chances of showers and storms later and a little bit windy too. We'll see a low of 66. Tomorrow, we'll get a chance of showers and storms, and it's going to be windy. Expected high of around 81. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kleckner for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
Let's go ahead and head right to the phone lines. Bob, what's up?
Hey, I'm here at the ballpark.
How are the elements? Is it nice outside?
Oh, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Wind's out of the north. It's not too windy. When I first got here, about a half hour ago. Yeah, okay. Check 2, yeah! Check day! Put it down there, Jay! I'm sorry.
It's okay. I love it. Thank you, Bob. Bob, we're going to let you go, Bob.
All right. I'll be here.
Weekdays from 2 to 3 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Now's the time to schedule your air conditioner service check with Bryant. Make sure it's ready to keep you cool and comfortable when you really need it. Call Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Spring has arrived. Dust off your clubs and play the city. Lincoln City Golf Courses offer 5 different places to play, including Holmes, Pioneers, Highlands, Mahoney, and the Par 3 Jim Ager course. Plus, one membership gets you access to all 5 courses, or ask about a discount card that gets you 15% off all rounds. There's also adult classes with lessons for every level with Lincoln City Golf Academy. Learn more about membership and classes today at lincolncitygolf.org.
In today's day and age, people are trying to do more and more projects by themselves. That might be better on the wallet, but it can also lead to painful sounds like this. Ow! Poor guy, trying to do wiring all by himself. Let's have another listen. It's just not worth it. Don't hurt yourself or make things worse than they are already. For any of your electric needs, call Joe at Ambition Electric today at 402-217-3415 or go to ambitionelectric.com.
An Empire Fence is an investment in your home. This year, use your tax return to make that investment. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and security while improving the appearance of your home. Visit empire-fence.com to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home. With your tax return on the way, schedule your project now. Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is On the Block with Stricken Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for 3! And you're going to go out of here at the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Ortega connoisseur, Jake Bakoven.
I like Ortega and I like pepper.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bob. Hold up.
Yay, yay.
Friday. Oh, yeah.
We back on the block, baby. Ice Cube. Yay, yay. We thank you for joining us on the block for the second hour. Thank you for tuning in to all our listeners. For our sponsors, the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, we thank you for them as well as Sutter Heyman, who is also sponsoring this video stream that we're tuning in. You can tap in on all certified platforms, uncertified platforms. I don't know if we're there yet, but I know that we're on Twitch. I know that we're on Facebook. I know you can find us on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of great content that comes right here on 93.7 The Ticket, and you can tap in on the app as well. So there's a lot of stuff, again, there's happening on sports. We talked Nebraska football. We talked about just kind of the feel of the program. Is it internal? Is there some issues? Why would Mr. Robinson leave the program? Casey, that is. And but now we're talking about a champ because E. Strick just won shootout with Strick. So the champ is here. But I tell you one thing that E. Strick don't want to do is I don't want to bump heads with Mike Tyson. I don't want no smoke with that. I leave him alone. And it just it so happens that a gentleman on a flight decided to test the mettle of Mike Tyson. And so we're definitely going to talk about that. But before that, we wanted to bring Nick in. Nick, what's happening, man?
Hey, so go ahead and put that caller up. Let's just push the second button. He's gonna has a question about Woolridge for you guys.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to stop in real quick. Friday, it's On the Blocks Day to give away a care basket courtesy of Beatrice Bakery. So I wanted to stop in and announce that we're going to gift a care package courtesy of our good friends at Beatrice Bakery to the Boys and Girls Club of Lincoln. So for all they do in the community, and big shout out to Beatrice Bakery for allowing us to do that every single day throughout our various shows here on the station.
Ooh, they got some great stuff.
Exactly. If you haven't been to Beatrice Bakery, head over to their website or just make the short drive out to Beatrice. They have really good products down there. Or if you want to nominate someone to receive a care package of their own throughout any of our shows throughout the week, head over to theticketfm.com, click on the Beatrice Bakery banner, and then you'll be able to nominate someone that you think and feel deserves a care package. So once again, thanks to the Boys and Girls Club of Lincoln and our good friends over at Beatrice Bakery.
Yeah.
So just wanted to say that before you guys get too far into discussion. And have a good weekend, gentlemen.
Awesome.
Happy
Thank you.
Friday. Enjoy the wind. Strick, what's it like down in Florida?
You don't want to know, man. 84 degrees. 84 degrees and beautiful.
No, don't tell us that, Strick. We don't want to.
Just get all the links for me, and we'll be all good to go.
Hey, but no, actually, I'm going to be back there. See, listen, it's been a beautiful thing. The last few times I've come to Nebraska, the weather has been absolutely beautiful. So I'm hoping to bring some of that up there when I get in next week.
So we just have to bring Strick to Lincoln, and we'll be good to go.
And we'll be
all
fine.
Right.
Get rid of this wind.
Sounds good.
Man.
All right, gentlemen, I'll let you go.
Awesome.
Good stuff as always. We'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Thanks
awesome.
for joining us, Nick.
That's awesome. I'm glad that we're able to do that. Let's go ahead and go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline. We have a caller in, and who are we talking to right now?
This is Mike.
Mike, what's going on? What's on your mind?
Hey, and can you guys? I'm up by Columbus, and I'd never be able to switch over to the app in time. Can you leave me on so I can hear your answer? But I got a question for Eric, if that's all right.
Sure.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you. Eric, and I actually talked to you the night before the 1994 Big 8 basketball championship in Westport. You and
Bruce Chubbuck. Bruce Chubbuck. We were out together.
A couple pops together.
Yeah.
But anyway, I read something not that terribly long ago from an Iowa site, and it was an interview with Andre Woolridge, and I was really surprised. He said when he committed to Nebraska, the Iowa coach said, when Nebraska does you wrong, give me a call.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was kind of strange. And I just want to ask you, I've met Danny Need one-on-one 2 or 3 times. I liked him, but that's not playing for him. Was he a hard guy to play for? And does Andre ever think about, man, if he'd have stuck with you guys, we'd had our Fab 4 or 5. We had Badgett, you, Boone, Woolridge. Does he ever think, man, we could have really done something if I had stayed there? Just kind of curious your thoughts. Thanks.
Well, leave him on the line because he wanted to hear the answer. So that way, I can quick answer this. Danny Nee was a great motivator. He was a great recruiter. Some of the areas that probably he didn't have the super strength on was in the X and O's department. But he deferred. He allowed his guys, Gary Bargan as well as Jeff Smith, to do a lot of that for him, that heavy lifting. And so Jimmy Williams was a good recruiter, so he allowed them to do that. I think one of the areas in which Danny probably hindered us in some instances was when it really got crunch time, because he was in New York and he was, listen, it's my time, it's my turn, and he would take over, and then the guys that specialize in that area wouldn't have to say so. Mm-hmm. But do Andy wrong. He maybe promised him some stuff, and so and again, I just said, and as you said, you wasn't able to listen. You would have probably heard it in an earlier segment if you were able to listen. Is that Andy just early on, he just didn't have the same tools offensively. Very skilled in there was no problem offensively. It just there were some defensive things that was a hindrance to him, because in high school they didn't play man to man. They played zone. So when he transferred to Iowa, that was the perfect fit for him. So to be honest, he could have waited patiently. He could have developed. He could have grown in those areas because he's very skilled. That wouldn't have been a problem for him. But I think that Iowa was the best fit for him and his skill set, and it allowed him to be able to be who he was and to do what he was able to do and be successful at it.
And I think that's the beauty of the transfer portal too, is in that situation, obviously he thrived. Like you said, I'm pretty sure you said he's Big Ten Player of the Year, and that's just kind of what it's built for. And that's just
went to the NCAA tournament, won a couple of games, I think. Yeah,
absolutely.
So it worked for him.
And that's why I like the transfer portal in that sense. I just think, unfortunately, it's getting a little bit out of control, and that's causing more issues than solutions, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of gray, Nate, in the transfer portal right now. There's still a lot of grays. I think there's still some things that they can tighten up. They can make it where it's a good fit. Right now, I think it's transferred twice. The third time you can't move or something where you can go into the draft and you can't come back. You can go twice. Yeah, it's something tricky about it. But I think if they hone those areas in a little bit, that it not make it difficult for the guys, but make it to where you there's some penalty after a certain amount, after twice, or you can go once. I think if you can go once for free, and then the second time there may have to be some delay. Like you can't just go and in the summer, that you maybe have to wait till the fall. So it makes it a little bit difficult for you to just be able to go and jump right in and get busy. Now, if you are a graduate transfer, that's a little bit different. So if you graduated and then you decide to jump into the portal after that, then you still should have that eligibility. I think if they work something out along those lines, it would make it a little bit more a risk after you jump the second time. If you try to jump the second time, I don't know. I might be behind the curve. There's some thought behind that. So
it's just very fascinating too, because the first player that comes to my mind is Joe Bamasiel. He was at Virginia Tech his freshman season. He jumped. I'm pretty sure he's going to George Washington, or went to George Washington last season. And now as a junior, he's jumping and trying to go to Oklahoma. And it's just like, at what point are we not even talking about college athletes that your freshman year you play for one team, your sophomore year you play for another team, and your junior year, after he wins this appeal because it's Oklahoma basketball, they're going to waive the appeal. He's going to get to play the next season. That's what is frustrating. And if you're a fan, this is what I've always said. Strick, I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this too. Is how could you ever be a fan of Kentucky basketball? How do you know who the players are? It's a new team every single year. And I get the one and done. And I think that's more of an NCAA problem than anything, that you make them play 1 year. I guess now you can go into the G League, but most guys still with NIL, they'll come play 1 year in college. If you're a fan of that team, I mean, it's a different team every single year. And these fan bases, especially like Nebraska, I think a lot of the reason that people like your team, Strick, is that you guys had been there. Like this was Nebraska's team, you know? And it just that's what's so frustrating too, more so about the one and done. But I think the transfer portal is kind of creating that similar scenario where you don't even know who's on the team anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that is part of it. But then also, too, what have they gotten out of it? You get to the tournament and you lose after a few rounds. You
lose to St. Peter's.
You know, you maybe go to the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8, but you still come up short, and that's because they just don't have that foundation. Usually, those foundational teams will go deeper, or you may hit, but you don't actually hit the home run. You look at those who have won the last 6 NCAA tournaments in March Madness. You'll see that they have foundational pieces. They had people that had been there. You know, you're looking at Jalen Brunson, who stayed the whole time. You're looking at what they had at Virginia. Those guys took an L, came back. I think they went to the NIT or something and had success. And a lot of teams that do that have success, that stay around. When they go to the NIT, they win the NIT, or they do some damage. Then all of a sudden, you can see they build experience playing together at that high level, and then they end up making runs. And even when you look at the Kansas team, there really wasn't no super 5 stars or something leading. It was Abaji. He was a 3-star, but he stayed the course, right? And
absolutely.
So that's where those foundational teams usually do better, to include St. Peter's. Those guys are all played together. They've been together. So they know what it's like when it gets into the trenches. Even the Duke team at that time, where they had all of those first-round draft picks, when they even had Zion Williamson, they came up short. So
Elite 8, yeah.
If you want to win the NCAA tournament, one and done is usually not the way that you do it. And so therefore, Kentucky gets excited. They're happy about, the success that they have in the season. But at the end of the day, it doesn't get them to ship.
Especially basketball too. I feel like more important than any other sport, because the first thing that I can think of is the Miami Heat. When you put together LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, maybe Chris Bosh not as much, but all of them for the most part in their prime or just outside of their prime, they lost to the Dallas Mavericks in the finals. I mean, it takes time to build that camaraderie and build that team, and that's why I think it's going to be so difficult for coaches to manage too, especially in basketball. Like if you're Fred Hoiberg, you can hit the transfer portal as hard as you want, and that'll work. But when you have a bunch of 19 and 20-year-old kids that have never played together, it's not going to work, especially when you're playing in the Big Ten.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, even then you'll see that's where the successes come from is those teams. But the Big Ten has struggled. And I noticed this throughout the course. It's like throughout the season, they battle, they fight each other, and then they get to the big ones and they can't get it done. I mean, I know. Those are some of the problems that they've had. Obviously, Michigan State has had some success. They've done some great stuff up there, but it's been those foundational teams where guys have been there and stayed the course and finished it out. Some of them may not even become great pros. That's the crazy thing about it, right? Most of the teams that win, some of them are just they're just average pros, or they're not really
don't even play in the NBA. Yeah,
they're not even perennial guys. But the one and done guys are the guys that have success. They may not win it in the NCAA, but they do well at the next level. So it's a trade-off, and it's a trade-off that unfortunately that's there. But foundational teams do better when you're looking at college basketball.
And let me ask you the why to that question. I'm already drawing a blank. The forward that played for UNC that was rolled his ankle. I don't know why I'm Bacot, Armando Bacot.
Yeah.
Why does a guy like that, and I've gone on rants about this, and Bach doesn't like him, but a guy like that walks in, night out, gives you a double-double. Why on an NBA level is a scout looking at someone like Chet Holmgren, who's $185, 7 foot tall? They play the same position. If you put Chet Holmgren on the court and said, you go guard Joel Embiid, he's going to be embarrassed. He's going to be bullied. But a guy like Armando Bacot, I mean, you can trust him. North Carolina does every night. That guy's going to get you a double-double every single night, and he makes his team better. And he was the team that went to the Final Four. He was the team that was in the national championship. While Chet Holmgren is going to be the number 1, 2, 3 overall pick, whatever it may be, why do NBA scouts look at so much at that when a guy like Armando Bacot, and I don't even know a good example, maybe like a Tyler Hansbrough, and they just don't get looked at in the NBA. I don't understand it.
Because you got to look at Kristaps Porzingis, right? He's basically a model of Kristaps Porzingis. And it's just because the game in the NBA is become spacing. It's become spread out. And you even look at Embiid. What did Embiid just do a couple of, just this last game? They drew up a freaking play for him. Doc Rivers drew up a freaking play for him to shoot the three. And
which is crazy.
He hits it, right?
Yeah.
That's why. All of them. You just go down the top big men in the league right now. All of them can stretch the floor in some, even Boogie Cousins. You know, if you're a big, you even saw in Brooklyn where Lopez was hit like 2 or 3 threes in the game. And there's some guys on some teams that have specialties, i.e. like Steven Adams, right? Steven Adams is not stretching the floor, but defensively he does what he does. And he rebounds, he runs the floor, he's strong as an ox. He's going to set Gretzky's. You know, you've got certain guys like that, right? But they play a certain role. But mostly in the NBA, they like Chet Holmgren type of guys who can stretch the floor. They'll probably play him at the 4 initially, maybe even some 3, and then work him into it. But yeah, initially he's not going to be that, no question. He'll get killed.
It just blows my mind. I just don't understand. And it's just consistently too, it's been happening. If you're an NBA player, or I guess if you're playing in the NBA, you'd want a guy like Armando Bacot on your team, wouldn't you? I mean, I would imagine the kid plays hard. He makes his teammates better. He knows his role. And I feel like in the NBA, we'll talk about it in our next segment too. DeMar DeRozan's like, I shoot mid-range. I don't want the 2-point shot to go away. Is it just we've reached the point now it's either you shoot the 3 or you're toast? I guess that's just kind of what it's come to.
I mean, that's what a lot of the analytics are telling people. That's what so the game is just transition.
It's changed.
That's just part of the way it is. And Bacot, that's why guys like that, that's why even, Kofi Cockburn, he'll probably end up in the G League initially. They'll probably try to work on stretching his game out. Even the big fella down at Indiana,
Trace Jackson Davis.
Yeah. Even him, they're gonna the success, but that stuff they want you to spread that. They're gonna work on their jumpers, and they'll probably put them in the G League initially. That's why Taco Fall didn't have success. That's why a lot of those type of guys that do pretty well, even Clint Capella for a while had good success, great pick and roll, Lob City type of guy, but then at the end of the day, scouting reports catch up with you, and you got to be able to.
Roy Hibbert too. Roy Hibbert kind of in that group.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And again, I don't know. I guess that's just kind of the way that the NBA is headed. Do you like that? Because I think it's funny because my dad talks about it all the time that he refuses to watch NBA basketball because of what it's become. I mean, it's just you run down the floor, you pass a couple times, then you throw up a 3, and that's just kind of the game now. I know that's kind of what the younger kids like, but as someone that has played in the NBA, has seen the game evolve, do you like that? That's where it's headed.
I don't. That's just not. But I like, for example, what Boston's doing. I like what Milwaukee does. I like what certain teams do. But it's not. I'm not a big fan of it. But it is the transition of the game. So you gotta adjust.
And we can thank Steph Curry for that one, right?
Yeah, Steph pretty much did that. But before we go to break, I do want to kind of mention this. I want to tap in on this Tyson situation. I want to ask you, like, would you be one to be talking to and tossing water bottles and sparking up a Mike Tyson? And the situation was kind of weird, right? He was actually, I think for Mike, it's shown his growth because he actually was pretty calm. You
Yeah.
know, he was just trying to just, let's get the plane up in the air. And the guy just kept prodding and prodding. So the question I have is this something that is new, or is this something that has been going on? You know, are people just looking for a certain amount of fame? Are they looking to secure bags? Are they trying to get somebody riled up so that they can try to sue them? What do you think this is, and why this is happening? It's seeming to happen more often now. I mean, even, I think the situation may be a little different with the Kamara situation, but it seems as though, this is happening a lot with guys. And what is the solution for it? Do you just become a hermit? Or do how do you deal with this situation now that people are kind of trying to poke and prod you and get you riled up?
I think one, you have to have some type of self-awareness and know that Mike Tyson, who literally probably has the potential to kill a guy, and you're really going to poke him? Like, come on. It's
Right.
just at some point have some type of self-awareness. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that. But I think, Strick, the best way to put it is how Mike Tyson puts it. And he says, social media made you all way too comfortable with disrespecting people, not getting punched in the face for it. That's the biggest thing. I mean, it's just you can do all this and you can be behind your phone talking trash, tweeting at Mike Tyson all you want, but at the end of the day, when you go up to Mike Tyson and you talk trash to his face, guess what? You're going to get hit. And you don't have that comfort of being behind the phone. And I think social media as a whole has just done that to people, that we just feel so protected behind our phones, and we just feel so secure. And at the end of the day, someone like Mike Tyson, look, you can sue him all you want. The dude's still got plenty of money. And guess what? If you talk trash to him again, he's probably going to hit you in the mouth again. So have some type of self-awareness, have some type of decency. And just as a civilization, we just need to get past this. Oh, let's do something to make us TikTok famous. Because leave him alone, honestly.
Yeah, he's a normal. I mean, although he's a public figure, but he's still a normal guy. And any normal guy that you continue to poke a bear, if you go out in the wild and you continue to poke a bear or play with a lion, you're going to get bit. So, I mean, it's something that can happen. Text us on the on the Sauter Heyman text line at 402-464-5685. Do you think Mike Tyson was in the wrong, or do you think Mike Tyson just like anybody else, or would you have responded in like manner or like kind? We'd love to hear from you. But unfortunately, we got to take a break. We'll come back with hitting the hardwood. We'd love to hear some of your thoughts. Maybe even take a call coming back out of the break. If you call us on the Honda Lincoln hotline at 402-464-5685. We'd love to hear your thoughts about the Mike Tyson situation. And we'll be back to talk a little bit of NBA recap and some of the issues of the falling off the mountain in some of these games that have just happened over the weekend. We'll be back after this.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
It's only a room with shelves and books, but it's far more magical than it looks. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Instill a love of books and learning by reading to your children and grandchildren. Create a lifelong habit that leads to a successful future. I think that I shall never see a place that's more useful to me. Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, batter, batter, batter. Wings, splatter, splatter, splatter. Catch all this season's baseball action at one of your neighborhood Lincoln locations. Get League of Their Own wings, burgers, nachos, and ringers while catching all the action. Stop into Wings and Rings located on O Street in Meridian Park and 40th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village. Or place your order online at wingsandrings.com. That's wingsandrings.com, Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation, but finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
Are you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. At Foundation Repair, we fix basements.
Fruitcakes are just for Christmas, right? Gosh, I feel sorry for you. I mean, what if we had done that with bacon? Bacon is only for breakfast. We'd never have bacon cheeseburgers. We'd never be able to save a salad by adding bacon bits. We'd never have Brinner. That's breakfast for dinner. Don't limit yourself. Fruitcakes for St. Patrick's Day. Fruitcakes for graduation. Fruitcakes for Thursday. Beatrice Bakery and Grandma's Fruitcakes are perfect for every occasion. Check them out in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum. If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Storage Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 Highway 6 in Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction on June 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln. Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yeah, welcome back to On the Block with Strick and Bach, but Bach is not here. We have Nate Doggy Dog.
Yes, sir.
On the mic today. He's joining us on the block. He's going to be with us for a few days this Friday and then early part of next week. So he'll be joining me as my partner here on the block. So we thank you, Nate, for joining us. We're going to talk a little bit of hitting the hardwood, man, and a little recap on what transpired in the last few games. Get into a little bit of depth in this segment. There's some trouble in some paradise areas of Phoenix, a little bit of trouble out there, some trouble in the tundra, definitely some trouble out in New York. There's a lot going on out there, but maybe they have some help coming. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But let's start off on a little recap on what happened over the last night, and some of the Eastern Conference and where they're at, what's happening, and what's still yet to come. Let's start off with Miami and Atlanta. Obviously, the series there is 2-0, and Atlanta has not looked very good, losing 115-91. Game 1, game 2, 115. How does that happen? 115-105. They did a little bit better, but now they're going to find themselves at home. Can they make a difference, or is this looking like a sweep? I personally think Miami in 6, but what do you think?
Miami in 6. Ooh,
not 6. Miami 5. Sorry about
Miami
that.
5. I wouldn't be surprised to see it be a sweep, to be honest with you, Strick. I mean, Jimmy Butler's playing out of his mind, man. And they just got – you talk about that identity and culture thing. Miami's got it, right? I mean, I was talking to one of my buddies, and he said that there are 9 guys on the team that weren't drafted. I mean, it's just you bring them in, they get a part of that identity, that roster, that culture, and they just ball, man. And they're a well-rounded team. They added Victor Oladipo. Looks like he's going to be healthy. Dropped 40 points a couple weekends ago. Heat are dangerous. The Heat are really dangerous. And I don't want to claim that Trae Young's going to be the next Russell Westbrook, in which he just doesn't really win and puts up a lot of stats, but he might be headed towards that direction. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I know they got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. It looks like this will be a sweep. I don't know if there's someone else that they got to add to the roster, but I think this will be a sweep.
Yeah, I think they're a little short on talent. I think the culture down there, even with the trouble, and we talked about Jimmy Butler and kind of, is he the guy that can lead you to the promised land as their leader? But I think they're very well-rounded. They're well-coached. So I think this is I'm thinking Atlanta can maybe sneak one out at home.
Right.
Just after you've dominated a team so much, you kind of would take a lackadaisical stance sometimes going into that third game. But if they do go in take care of them in this third game, I think Atlanta will be just so deflated. They just don't have enough weapons to compete. Moving on to the 4th seed against the 5th seed, there's Philadelphia against Toronto. That lead is 3-0 after the overtime win where we just talked about Joel Embiid the play was drawn up for him and he hits it and knocks it down, man. It just pretty much opened that game up and ended that whole thing. And just any type of inkling of hope that Toronto had. They played well, but they really didn't look like I think that's just a matchup nightmare for them personally. I think Tyrese Maxey is really, really coming into his own right now. They're doing a lot of this even without James Harden being just who James Harden is, and that's a huge thing for them. So I really like this. This is being over with pretty much. I just don't think Toronto matches up very well with them, but how do you view it the rest of the series?
No, I think this is over for Toronto, but that's why I'm so excited. I think a lot of the matchups in the Eastern Conference or the Eastern Conference to start out, they're just, other than Brooklyn Celtics, they didn't really do too much for me. But once we get down to the Final Four in each conference, that's when we're really going to figure out what's going on, right? Because James Harden and Joel Embiid, on paper, it looks like a match made in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So did Chris Paul and James Harden at one point too, right? And they were never able to get it done. Obviously, the Western Conference was a little bit more loaded at the time, and especially when you have to play a team like the Golden State Warriors that won 73 games. But James Harden has shown me nothing up to this point, Strick, to make me believe that he's going to win a playoff series and he's going to win and go to the finals. So I don't know. I think he's an upgrade from Ben Simmons because I think that's a little bit of a nightmare in itself, but there's some other situations that impact that. But I think they'll beat the Raptors, but after that, it depends on the matchup.
Yeah,
I'm not – if you gave me $100 and said, who are you putting it to win the Eastern Conference, I wouldn't take the 76ers. I just wouldn't.
Right. I'm not sold on them either. I think there's some areas and some deficiencies. I love Joel Embiid. I love what he's doing. Again, I like Tyrese Maxey. Can he keep it up?
Right.
I just don't think that they have the defensive prowess that they're playing against right now at Toronto to be able to secure that. But I think Boston does. That is an issue that I think becomes a major issue if you see them match up with Boston. And therefore, I think it shifts because I think Boston has the means in which to handle Embiid with Tice. As long as he stays out of foul trouble. The series that has been intriguing again to me has been this. I personally didn't expect it to be 2-0, but I love what Boston's doing with the energy they're giving. The defensive, it seems like the referees are allowing it to become physical again. I love everything about that.
Love it. Yeah.
So that's where it's been a little bit of interest to me from that standpoint because, people talk about the league back in my time. That Boston Celtics team looks like my time. The way that they're playing defense and how physical they're being. And with that, then I start to question. I start looking at can KD come out of it? Can Kyrie come out of it? It changes my thoughts on how different they look when you get physicality involved. It's showing, it's starting to expose it a little bit for me. Yeah. And so I also think that Steve Nash doesn't have a clue. To me, I think he's being Rodolfo is out coaching him for me. I don't think they've made any adjustments. They haven't figured out how to make those changes. He's relying on the talent ability. They're looking to possibly in game 4 get Ben Simmons back. What is that going to change? I think it's going to help them defensively, but offensively, I think he's a liability, especially he hasn't played in all this time. So therefore, I think it's still a problem there for Brooklyn.
Well, it's interesting you bring up Ben Simmons too, because it looks like Robert Williams is going to come back for the Celtics. So that's just going to make your defense even that much better. And the thing I'll say about the Celtics is they were one of those teams that you didn't know if the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum combo was going to work, but it sure looks like it's working now. So I just keep riding the wave. And I think there's something to be said too. And I'd like you to speak on this. We hear about how difficult it is to play in Boston, and they show it, man. Like it is unreal. And that's why I don't understand a player like Kyrie Irving. Like, you're just putting fuel into the fire, dude. Like you can have all these antics and everything all you want, but when you're stomping on the leprechaun, burning sage or whatever, you're fueling an already rabid fan base, and they're going to feed off of that. So
we used to call it the jungle. And
really?
It was every bit of that. It was every bit as raucous. And before our games, they used to play "Welcome to the Jungle. We got fun and games." Awesome. It used to be rowdy, bro. It was so rowdy. So man, you're absolutely right about that. The Boston fans, there's no question.
And it's just and he just keeps poking the bear, I guess, for lack of better words. But I think if you had to ask me right now who's going to win the Eastern Conference, I'd probably say the Celtics. I have no reason to believe otherwise, especially with Robert Williams coming back. And let me ask you about this: Ben Simmons, if Robert Williams comes back 3 weeks after tearing his meniscus or whatever it was, and Ben Simmons is, what, a year and a half now, and no one even knows what his injury is, what does that say about Ben Simmons, right? I mean, what are you doing? It's obvious this team needs you defensively. I mean, you hit it right, nail on the head. They need him out there defensively. You don't even have to score. Kyrie and KD can do that all they want. They need you on the court, and what are you doing?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I find that to be another situation with the Pelicans, but we'll get into them in a second. But I think what just happened with Chris Middleton really hurts Milwaukee for their long-term prospects. I think it's going to change the way Giannis has to handle the ball. Chris Middleton was one of their clutch shooters, taking 21 of those in game clutch situations. He's a high clutch shooting guy for them. I love Connaughton. I love, some of the other players that they have in Grayson Allen. I think George Hill and Pat Connaughton. I love those guys, but at the end of the day, that loss to Chris Middleton is huge because it minimizes. Right now, you're not getting much out of Drew Holiday like he gave you when they won the championship. He was phenomenal, but he's not that. And Chris Middleton was filling that void. I just don't know how long they can preserve without him.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's just tough because if you're a team like Milwaukee, you won the championship last year, and that has to be your expectation coming in this year. But I guess just enjoy it while you can. I just feel for these small market teams, and you convince Giannis to stay, but when you do that as a small market, everything has to be perfect. I mean,
for sure.
Everything has to be perfect for you to get that championship. And without Chris Middleton, they'll advance in this series, it looks like. But after that, I mean, it's going to get tough.
Well, the series is 1-1 right now. It returns to Chicago. They actually play tonight on ABC at 8:30. So I definitely will be tuning into that show.
Absolutely.
The Western Conference first round now, we move over to Phoenix, which is also that other team that is experiencing trouble. But the Pelicans also has lost one of their top-tier players in Zion Williamson with no near return in sight. But we definitely know that it's looking like there's more time for Devin Booker, who is strained at hamstring and not returning after going for 31 in the first half and was looking like he was going for a 50-piece chicken wing. But at the end of the day, came up short. And I just don't know if Mikal Bridges, I don't know if Chris Paul still has enough He's well, let me just be quiet on that. But I just don't know if DeAndre Ayton and those guys have enough. Even when he was out before, I mean, I think the most that they averaged was 19 points. You're talking about somebody that's taken 21 shots a game for them, is now no longer there and is a upper 20-point scorer for them. You lose that point production. How do you make it up? I just don't think they have the means to do so. But also, I still think you're facing a down New Orleans Pelicans team, but they're dangerous. So especially without Zion, they're still dangerous. But I still don't know if they consistently have enough. How do you see the rest of this series rolling out?
The Suns were my pick to win the championship, but without Devin Booker, that's obviously going to change. Let me ask you this: is Chris Paul in a spot right now that you think he can lead a team to a championship? Because I say yes. He hasn't been able to do it. I say yes. That's why I took them. Do you think that he can?
I've always been, when it comes to the big game, I'll say early in the series, yeah, but when it comes to the big one, I say no. So especially without Devin Booker, I just don't believe in Chris Paul. It's just that I love him. I think he's a tremendous player. Yes. I just, for some reason, between him and Paul George, them two, when it comes to the big one, I fall short on that one.
Trust me, I've seen plenty of Paul George as a Pacers fan. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you on that.
The one that I am quite flabbergasted, but yet I love that's what's happening, and especially the guy, as I said, I played with Rick Brunson, both in the NBA, in the CBA. His dad, the dad of Jalen Brunson, doing a tremendous job of filling in the absence of Luka Doncic, and they're absolutely getting it done. Yeah. And I love what Dinwiddie's doing. I just love the balance that they're having out there. They're spreading the floor, they're moving the ball, and they are absolutely getting it done against a tough defensive Utah team. 2-1 right now in that series. Going back Saturday again to Utah. How do you see the rest of that filling out?
I don't know. This is the most interesting one to me, and this was the one that Stephen A. Smith was yelling about the other day. If you're the Jazz, I mean, what are you doing? This is you. I'm pretty sure they were the 1 or the 2 seed last year, flamed out. This year, you're playing the Mavericks without arguably the best player in the NBA. Bach asked me this question a couple weeks ago, and he said, "If you're the Utah Jazz, do you blow it up?" And my answer was no. After seeing this, if you lose to the Dallas Mavericks, I don't know if you really have much of a choice. I mean, where are you going as a franchise? I mean, this is the series you got to win. And it looks like, I mean, like you said, Jalen Brunson's a stud, man. Like, he is hooping.
He's going to secure the bag. It may not be in Dallas, but he's going somewhere for the big money.
And once Luka comes back, I mean, that series is toast. So I think the Mavericks pull it out, and then I think the Jazz are having a discussion with what do we do with our franchise.
I love it. We have a few more to talk about. We'll have one last segment. We're going to take a break right now. We'll come back and talk about the number 2 and 7 seed. There's a lot of animosity going on between the 2 M's of Memphis and Minnesota. And we'll also talk Golden State and Denver because there's a lot of frustration with the potential MVP candidate in Nikola Jokic. Tongue twister. But yeah, we'll come back and we'll finish off the segment talking about those two and those impactful series and how they're going when we get back after this.
Hey, batter, wings, splatter, splatter, splatter. Catch all this season's baseball action at one of your neighborhood Lincoln locations. Get League of Their Own wings, burgers, nachos, and ringers while catching all the action. Stop into Wings and Rings located on O Street in Meridian Park and 40th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village. Or place your order online at wingsandrings.com. That's wingsandrings.com, Buffalo Wings and Rings. There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Fruitcakes are just for Christmas, right? Gosh, I feel sorry for you. I mean, what if we had done that with bacon? Bacon is only for breakfast. We'd never have bacon cheeseburgers. We'd never be able to save a salad by adding bacon bits. We'd never have Brinner. That's breakfast for dinner. Don't limit yourself. Fruitcakes for St. Patrick's Day. Fruitcakes for graduation. Fruitcakes for Thursday. Beatrice Bakery and Grandma's Fruitcakes are perfect for every occasion. Check them out in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast today, spotty showers this morning, but partly sunny later and windy. See a high of around 89. Tonight, chances of showers and storms later and a little bit windy too. We'll see a low of 66. Tomorrow, we get a chance of showers and storms, and it's going to be windy. An expected high of around 81. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kleckner for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Storage Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 Highway 6 in Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction on June 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln. Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Another packed spring sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. Stop by for great deals as April's beers of the month are Deschutes Fresh Squeeze IPA, Wild Onion Ubi Goober Hazy Peach IPA, and Belching Beaver Brewing. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch growler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage stop at 1801 O Street.
Find great deals now on new Rams, Jeeps, and more during Ram Truck Month and the Jeep Celebration event at Baxter Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Shop our entire inventory of new and certified pre-owned vehicles anytime. At Baxter, we put you in the driver's seat.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rounding out the segment here on the block, we're going to finish up with these last two games before we go watch some of them tonight. And
oh, yeah.
Come back over the weekend and have a whole bunch to talk about. Hopefully, it'll be some good games that we can talk about as opposed to some blowouts and maybe some closeouts. But finishing up this segment, we got just a little time left here on the block. And you guys, we want you to have a wonderful weekend as well. Enjoy yourselves. Go out there, watch a game. Have a brew, see the softball team win some more games, whatever it is, man. Enjoy yourself this weekend. But we want to get back into this, man. The number 2 Memphis Grizzlies playing the number 7 Minnesota Timberwolves. The series is now 2-1. Minnesota was able to get one there in game one with a 130 to 117 win, only to bounce back. And Memphis basically ran away with it and had them down 26-21, going 0 for like ever in parts of the game, and allowing them to get back and lose by 9. That is absolutely crazy in the way that went down. I mean, listen, I was in Boston, and I think we at that time had the record where we came back and beat the New Jersey Nets after a 26-point deficit. And listen, that was absolutely crazy, and didn't call a timeout after a 21-0 run.
Crazy.
I mean, it's ludicrous to me, but after Karl Anthony Towns talking trash, talking about we back in Minnesota, they got to see us now. And Ja Morant, I love it. He wants all the smoke. He told everybody, he said, now that you done jumped on the bandwagon, stay on that side. I love Ja Morant. I love what they're doing. I love that team. They're on fire. They're hungry. And they're a bunch of guys that is just looking to try to get it done. How do you feel about the rest of this?
I don't even know, Strick, because I was watching that game last night, and I told myself, wow, the Timberwolves might actually be pretty good. Like, Anthony Edwards is legit. Karl Anthony Towns isn't playing that great, and it doesn't matter. And then literally in a matter of minutes, the Grizzlies had the lead. It's just like, what the hell was that? Literally.
I was befuddled.
What? And let me ask you this then. So you've probably been on some lopsided comebacks. I don't know, maybe to this mark. I mean, this was almost historic. I mean, it was ridiculous. But how do you come back from that? Or do you, or is it just kind of like mentally you're drained at that point?
I think it's very deflating. And if you don't have any kind of heart, like the heart that Memphis has showed thus far, after losing the first game the way that they lost, they could have just deflated and just gave up the ghost. They came back, bounced back, and then went in their house and took their heart. So listen, I think it's still going to go at least 6, but hey, we'll see. I just think Memphis is hungry, and I don't think Ja's going to let them lose. But this next series, the one that I think is over with. I think without having Murray, I think Jokic he's trying to. I think Draymond Green is handling business. I think they just can't handle the smoke that Golden State's bringing to Denver. It's just too much. I think it's just too much, and there's a lot of frustration with Jokic. Do you think that the MVP voting should have some playoff implications involved in it, or you just think it should be done by the season? But I know we're closing out. We don't have much time to dig into it. It's something we would love to dig into, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think it should.
Because I think this series is over. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, this series is done. The Warriors look like a well-oiled machine that we saw a couple of years ago. I mean, they're legit. They're back. I think it should. I've always thought it should be a playoff award too, because when you talk about value, you can win however many games in the regular season, but guess what? No one gives a damn when you lose in the first round of the playoffs. So, I think playoffs should go into consideration. I think that's across all sports. So, it'll be interesting. I don't know if that does. I'm pretty sure they only really look at it, but it's probably, if you're a voter, maybe in the back of your head, you're thinking, first round exit. I don't know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. That is an interesting topic. Once again, we thank you for joining us. We've got to get out of here. Unfortunately, we were loving to kind of dig into some of those topics. There was a few more that we wanted to get to. Hopefully, we can follow back up on it on Monday. Again, thank you for joining us on the block. For me, Eric Strickland, my non-partner who's out watching USC football, Jake Bakovic, but also Nate Doggy Dog, my partner for these segments here on the block. We'll see you next week, Monday, 4 to 6 Central Standard Time. You can find us right here on the block. We'll see you. Have a great weekend.
Have a good one.